You know that old saying, read the fine print, right? But what happens when the fine print itself, or even the whole deal, is based on a big mistake? Well, today we're going to jump right into that. We're going to demystify the three types of contractual mistakes to figure out when an error can and when it can't change everything.
Oh, that sinking feeling in your stomach. It's the worst, isn't it? You've just signed on the dotted line, you feel good about it, and then bam, it hits you. Something is just not right. Maybe you totally misunderstood a key part, or maybe the other person did. This explainer, it's all about what to do in that exact situation.
Okay, so let's kick things off with the most common scenario, the one that probably comes to mind first. This is what we call a unilateral mistake. It's when the error is completely on one side of the table. So what does that actually mean? It's pretty straightforward, really. It's a solo error. One person has a total misunderstanding about what the terms are or what's going to happen because of them. Maybe you thought you were paying per month, but the contract says per week. Or you totally misread a delivery date. The key thing to remember is the mistake is yours and yours alone. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. How does the law actually deal with this? Well, the general rule is kind of tough, but it's clear. Your mistake is your problem. The contract, more often than not, still stands. But, and this is a huge but, there's a massive exception. If the other party knew you were making a mistake and just stayed quiet, hoping to take advantage of you, well, that changes things. The law might just step in. It's basically a fairness rule, right? To stop someone from profiting off an honest mistake.
Okay, so that's what happens when one person messes up. But what if the error isn't just on one side? Let's dive into our second category, when both of you are mistaken about the exact same thing.
This is what we call a common mistake. And you can almost think of it as a shared delusion. Both of you are in perfect agreement, but the very foundation of that agreement is based on something that's totally false. You both believe a certain fact is true, it's central to the whole deal, and you're both completely wrong. So, does any little shared mistake just blow up a contract? Nope, not necessarily. The scale of the error is what really matters. A small, shared misunderstanding probably won't be enough to do anything. The mistake has to be so fundamental, so core to the deal, that it makes the whole thing impossible or radically different from what you both thought you were signing up for. Think about it like this. You both agree to buy and sell a specific, famous painting. But what neither of you knows is that the museum it was in burned down yesterday. The very thing you're making a deal about doesn't even exist anymore. That is a fundamental mistake. All right, that brings us to our third and final type of mistake. And this is where things get really messy, where all the wires get crossed. It's not a one-sided mistake, and it's not a shared mistake. This is a complete and total failure of communication. We call this a mutual mistake. On the surface, it looks like you have a solid deal. The words on the paper are clear. But underneath all that, you and the other person have completely different things in your heads. It's like you're talking about apples and they're talking about oranges, but you both just keep using the word fruit. There was never a real agreement, no meeting of the minds, as they say. So let's just nail this down, because this difference is absolutely key, and it can be a little tricky. To put it as simply as possible, with a common mistake, you're both on the same wrong page together. With a mutual mistake, you're on two completely different pages from the very beginning. One is a shared screw-up, the other is a total disconnect. Okay, that was a lot to take in. Let's take a second to recap and put these three big ideas together into one super clear picture. So here's the final breakdown, the whole thing in a nutshell. Unilateral, that's one party messing up. Common, both parties share the exact same mistake. And mutual, the parties are just at cross purposes, not on the same wavelength at all. Getting these three categories straight is really the first step to knowing your rights when a contract is built on shaky ground. At the end of the day, all of this comes back to one simple but incredibly powerful question. And yeah, while there are legal fixes for these situations, your best defense is always going to be absolute clarity from the get-go. So the next time you're about to sign something, don't just read the words on the page. Ask yourself, are we truly 100% on the same page? Because as we've just seen, that's not just a nice little saying. It's the entire foundation of a solid agreement.